This is the book of Zephaniah, chapter 1, verse 10. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord, that there shall be the noise of a cry from the fish gate, and a howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills. Verse 11. Howl, ye inhabitants of Maktesh, for all the merchant people are cut down. All they that bear silver are cut off. Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Shai. Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the name who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahweh Shai is his son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Brakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And citation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai's sake. I'm Brother Samak from the GMS Miami camp. And yes, the reason why I brought out the book of Zephaniah, chapter 1, verse 10 through 11, is that I came across this article today where economists are warning of a 1929 style crash, and they're calling it the everything bubble. Okay, and this is something that we here at Great Millstone, starting with our apostle elders on down, have been warning that an economic crash is coming. Okay, it actually sets a narrative to bring in more draconian measures, all right, meaning taking more rights away from people, as well as changing a whole financial system, right? Get physical cash out of the system, force everybody into a digital currency where it's all trackable, it's all programmable. Yeah, all right. And again, this is something that we've been warning. And that's why I brought out Zephaniah chapter 1, verse 10 through 11, because this has happened before. This happened to us when we knew we were Israelites. Okay? All right? The Lord judged us. Okay? By taking away our riches. Okay? For being disobedient. All right? For going against the creator of heaven and earth. And you know America is extremely disobedient against the creator of heaven and earth. America, all right, is Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots, okay? A city built on iniquity. So that's why when the scripture says there's what was written aforetime was written for our learning, okay? Because the Lord judged us. All right, Maktesh was a city in Israel. Okay, in fact, I asked Chat GPT. I just wanted to ask its perspective on what happened in Zephaniah chapter 1, verse 11. Okay, so and then I'm going to get into this article. All right, because again, the Lord judged us. The Most High judged us. How much more is he going to judge America? Okay, that's why this crash is coming. Zephaniah chapter 1, verse 11. Here's what the verse means in context and historical background. Zephaniah 1 is a prophecy of God's coming judgment on Judah and Jerusalem for their idolatry, corruption, and complacency. Isn't that what America does? Okay, to this very day. All right. Verses 10 through 13 describes how destruction will come throughout the city, from the fish gate to Maktesh, hitting both commoners and the wealthy. Right, even rich people, okay, get affected, all right, when the economy crashes. Do historical research, all right, on 1929 stock market crash. You had a lot of people that lost it all, and they ended up becoming base jumpers without the parachute. All right, they ended up jumping off the building. Okay, and you're going to see that a lot when this crash comes, all right? Places like New York City, okay? Wall Street, it's going to be a lot of these Wall Street, all right, clowns jumping off of high rises, all right? So make sure you don't go outside around these tall buildings when the shit crashes, all right? All right? Or make sure you observe your surroundings at all times. Continuing on, Maktesh, the Hebrew word is mortar or depression, like refers to a valley or hollow area. That's right, and the apostle elders always go into this word. Jerusalem, possibly a market district where traders and money changers worked. Right, like New York City has Wall Street. Okay, I've been there personally. Okay, when I started to learn about the financial system, there was times I just sat outside and watched these psychopaths go in and out, you know. And this is before I knew I was an Israelite, but I was just learning about the financial system, and I was just like, man, these people are insane. And then I was there for the Occupy Wall Street, okay, and I started getting irritated with the protesters because I was like, why are y'all arguing with these psychopaths at Wall Street? You really should be going to the Federal Reserve because they're the ones that create the boom and bust cycles. But nobody wanted to talk about that. That's why again, the Lord showed me a lot before I came to this truth. That's how I know that serving the Lord, that's the answer. All right, fearing what let me get this scripture. Lesson within lessons. What is the whole duty of man? Whole duty of man. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God. Simple. Fear Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Okay? That's the conclusion. That's the conclusion I came to. And Dawadi Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai for guiding my spirit to see my teachers, which are the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. All right? Because that's the answer. All right, this whole financial system is one big Ponzi scheme. It's a joke, and I can't wait for it to crash. I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna be cheering. All right, I told my brother Zakaria all the time, man. I'm gonna be jumping around, jumping on my car, just being excited, man. Okay. While people are scared because they're gonna lose their 401k and their pension. By the way, your 401k and pension are in this, fraudulent casino. And it's all designed because they got to force you on your knees so that you take the RFID chip, the mark of the beast. You see how it works? So let's go back. It gets better. The word suggests a low-lying, enclosed place like a mortar where things are crushed, symbolizing how the people there would be crushed by God's judgment. Right, just like the Lord crushed us. He took everything away from us. He's going to crush you Americans and take everything away from you. Okay? Merchant people are cut down. Refers to businessmen and traders, especially those dealing in wealth and luxury. Right. God's judgment would collapse the city's economy. Merchants would lose everything. Those who bear silver, money handlers, bankers, or lenders would also be destroyed, showing that wealth cannot save them. Boom. This reminds me of a scripture. Proverbs chapter 23, verse 5. Wilt thou set thine eyes upon that which is not? For riches certainly make themselves wings. They fly away as an eagle toward heaven. NLT version. In the blink of an eye, wealth disappears, for it will sprout wings and fly away like an eagle. Right. And it's coming. All right. A lot of these so-called, millionaires, what they call themselves, they're going to lose it all. All right. They're going to have suicide on the mind. All right. A lot of jobs are going to be lost. There's going to be riots. There's going to be civil unrest. Yeah, man. It's going to be nasty out here. Nasty in the streets of Babylon. All right. That's why the Lord is going to have to lift up a standard. All right. To protect us. And you're going to see Isaiah 4:1. A lot of these women are going to be running towards us, the prophets. That's why, brothers, just hang on. It's coming. Isaiah 4:1. It's coming. All right. Let's go back to Zephaniah. Theological and prophetic implication. Prophetic. And we here at GMS, through the Spirit Power Yahweh Bashem Yashai, we're known for the prophetic prophecies. The verse warns that economic pride and greed would not protect people from divine justice. Right. America, all right, really believes that their economy is going to save them, that their economy will never be destroyed. Okay? That's pride. Pride goeth before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall. God's judgment would reach every class, not just the poor or the powerful, right? It foreshadows a total societal collapse, where even the financial elite, those bearing silver, are judged. Yup. All right, so there you go. So let's get into this article. It says, concerns are growing among economists about the potential for a significant market downturn, reminiscent of the infamous 1929 crash. This has spurred discussions around what is being referred to as the everything bubble, meaning every sector in the economy is about to burst. Okay? Various experts are voicing warnings about the risk associated with the current economic climate, driven by bullish market sentiment and underlying vulnerabilities, right? And everything is overvalued. All right, there's a technical term that they use when everything is overvalued. It doesn't come to my mind right now, but there's a technical term, a financial term. Okay? And that's why the bubble's about to burst. The everything bubble and market sentiment. For over a decade, the financial markets have been characterized by sense optimism despite intermittent downturns. The rapid recovery from Crown 19 pandemic momentarily eased fears. Nevertheless, certain analysts believe the current environment may be primed for a crash similar to that of 1929, emphasizing economic weakness and escalating debt levels. Right, and now, not to mention, you got this government shutdown. Okay, hey, would that motivate the government to turn back on an economic crash like 1929? That would definitely bring these red and blue team actors to sell the narrative that, okay, now it's time to open up the government. All right, that could be a possibility, but it's coming. All right, we'll see how the Lord sets it up. Again, this is the Lord's theater. We're just out here, all right, to prophesy, all right, what he said in the scriptures. Okay, all right, we're just out here to prophesy. An economic crash is coming. Just like it happened to us, it's going to happen to America. All right, it's going to be 10 times worse. All right, because people here don't know how to farm. They don't know how to cultivate. Okay, people here are so dependent on McDonald's and Burger King. Okay, and food stamps. Oh yeah, it's going down, man. We're talking about savage life. 2nd Esdras chapter 15. 2nd Esdras 16. Those chapters, man. And those chapters, okay, are coming, are happening. They're getting, you're seeing slivers of it right before your very eyes, man. Warnings from analysts. John Wolfenbarger, a veteran Wall Street analyst, recently cautioned that the U.S. stock market could face its more severe downturn since the Great Depression. Wolfenbarger highlighted the combination of high debt, an uncertain global economy, and limited policy interventions as crucial factors contributing to potential market instability. Right, you got high debt in credit cards, high debt in auto loans. All right, and people are not able to pay the auto loans. Okay, there's the repo industry is flourishing. You know, you're seeing cars being repo left and right. But hey, that debt somebody's got to pay for. Okay, you're seeing commercial real estate doing bad because they're not able to sell these offices. Okay, ever since the pandemic, a lot of people are working from home, so commercial real estate is going to collapse. In fact, there's more and more talks about commercial real estate being one of the main ingredients to bring this economy down. Okay, and of course they're also talking about AI, but we'll see with that. We know that's where everything's going with AI. But hey, certain companies and AI have to be liquidated, just like it happened during the dot-com bubble. All right, when that burst, certain websites, certain internet companies were depleted. They were liquidated. They went bankrupt. Like remember Net Zero? Okay, I remember that. You don't see that anymore. Continuing on. According to previous market patterns, after the 1929 crash, the Dow Jones Industrial Average took over 25 years to recover to its previous peak. Former IMF chief economist Jita Gopinath has remarked that a U.S. market crash could erase up to $35 trillion in global wealth. Well, see, this is where, if you understand, all right, this corrupt, fraudulent economy, nothing just disappears. Money's always transferred from one group of people to another group of people. So this 35 trillion is going to the same people that caused the problem, the elites, okay? Because they want to bring the majority of the earth, the people that are walking this earth, on their knees, so that they go and take the RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast. Okay? When your belly's hungry, you're gonna run to the government, all right? And they're gonna give you rations, but they're gonna say, hey, you got to take this device. There's so many ways for them to implement this RFID chip, all right? And what they're working on right now is the infrastructure. They got to get everybody out of physical cash. You clearly see it, all right? This is why gold and silver started to have a sell-off, and what you started seeing, crypto started to go up. Interesting. All right, because everything's going digital currency. Okay, all right. They call it. What's the technical term? Capital rotation. All these financial technical terms. Comparisons to historical events. Financial journalist Andrew Ross Sorkin. Right, he played in the HBO film movie, and I'm pretty sure brother's seen it. Too Big to Fail. All right, he was one of the journalists that asked in that film, regarding the housing bubble crisis, and he's also on CNBC. He has weird. His eyes are weird. He has like a different color eyes. He's sounding an alarm as well, suggesting that while a crash is imminent, its timing and severity remain uncertain. He attributes the potential for disaster to a bubble mentality and the rockball regulatory measures. I mean, you could read more, all right? But that's the point, man, okay? And now I want to play this because in this film, is in this short video that was created by the market historian, which I'm going to subscribe to. Okay, he pretty much lays out the foundation. What happened in 1929, all right, and how it's actually going to be worse now. Okay, but let me get a scripture. Proverbs chapter 11, verse 4, riches profit not in the day of wrath. Right, you got people, thinking that their riches are going to save them, all right, from judgment. No, it's not, man. Okay? No, it's not. And people are acting like an economic crash hasn't happened and people's lives wasn't destroyed. All right? Look at the 2008 housing bubble crisis. All right? People lost their jobs. People lost, all right, their savings. Okay? People committed suicide. All right? People resulted into taking drugs. All right? So this is why we rely on Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. All right, yes, we do what we got to do, to pay our these bills and take care of our family. But we know that, all right, this financial system, all right, cannot save us. Only Yahweh Bashim Yahushai can. But righteousness delivereth from death. Right, righteousness. Okay, being upright. What is righteousness? Being obedient to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. All right, fearing him, obeying his commandments. That's the whole duty of man. That's righteousness. Okay? So let me play this.
Have you ever felt a tiny tremor under your feet? a subtle sign that something big is about to shift. That's the feeling I get when I look at the global economy today. People talk about market corrections, about downturns, but I believe we're on the verge of something much, much bigger. What if I told you that the crash of 2025 could make the Great Depression of 1929 look like a minor speed bump? And what's even more concerning is that almost nobody seems to be ready for it.
And I'm in total agreement with what he said. Okay? 1929, all right, is going to look like a cakewalk compared to this crash. All right? People don't know, again, people don't know the basics of how to live. Okay? Off the grid. Okay? People are so dependent on their smartphones and their computers and this impatient, fast-paced society. Like McDonald's and Burger King and all this other fast foods. I'm just using it as an example. All right, there's a mentality behind it. You know, you got women that don't even know how to cook. Don't even know how to cook, man. Nasty work, man. Okay?
Stick with me, because in the next 7 minutes, I'm going to break down exactly why this isn't just fear-mongering. It's a warning based on clear, flashing red signals that most people are choosing to ignore. To understand why 2025 could be so different, we have to look back at 1929. The Roaring Twenties were a time of massive optimism. New technologies like the radio and the automobile were changing the world. The stock market was soaring and ordinary people were borrowing money like never before to get a piece of the action. It felt like the party would never end. The problem was, this entire boom was built on a mountain of debt and speculation. When the bubble finally popped in October 1929, the system collapsed. Banks failed, fortunes vanished overnight, and the world plunged into the Great Depression. The key takeaway from 1929 is this. When a system is built on excessive debt and overconfidence, the fall is always harder and faster than anyone predicts. Now let's fast forward to today. Look around. Does any of that sound familiar? We're living in an era of unprecedented technological advancement, AI, electric vehicles, space exploration. The stock market, despite its ups and downs, has reached incredible highs. And debt? Well, we've taken the concept of debt to a whole new level. But here's the first major difference between now and 1929, and it's a big one: the sheer scale of global debt. Back then, the debt was mostly concentrated within nations. Today, we have a completely interconnected global financial system. Government debt, corporate debt, and personal debt, from mortgages to credit cards to student loans, have all ballooned to astronomical figures.
And that's a fact. Okay? That's why this crash is coming, man. All right? There's too much debt in different sectors of this economy. Okay? So it's all it takes is an event. Could they use cyber attack as the reason why? All right? And now they have the narrative, well, the government shut down and there's so many furloughs and who's watching America's what's it called? Cyber realm, for lack of better words, because a lot of cybersecurity officials and personnel and employees are on furlough. Okay, so there's so many different scenarios that could play out to why this economy crashes, but it was inevitable from begin with because there's too much debt. All right, this place has been America has been laden with so much debt. You know what? Let's get a scripture. I'm only gonna play a little bit more, but I just want to bring this scripture out. Habakkuk chapter 2. Back to the milk scriptures. All right, and we get some more Hebrew. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 6. Shall not all these take a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him, and say, Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long to him that ladeth himself with thick clay? Right. Okay. Because when you look at it, which country has the most debt? America. All right. So who's going to be affected the worst? America. It's just plain. Okay. When you go into the word thick clay, and again, this is judgment from the Lord. Again, we got to go back to why is this happening? Judgment. America's a wicked society, a wicked kingdom, a filthy, dirty, disgusting kingdom. Proud, arrogant, okay? It has idols everywhere. That's why the Lord's going to judge this place. It's oppressing the Lord's people, the children of Israel. We're being oppressed with this whole devaluation of the dollar. When you devalue the dollar by printing money digitally out of thin air, okay, who does it hurt? The poor. Who are the poor? The Israelites. This is why this place is going down in violence, man. So the Hebrew word for thick clay is ibatyat. This is an I, this is a ba, this is a ta, this is a ya, this is a ta. All right, follow along. All right, so here's an I. This is a ba. This is a ta. This is a ya. And this is a ta. So it's ibatyat. Okay? Which means way to pledges heavy debts. Okay? And America has heavy debts. All right? So this place is about to collapse. All right? The debt is unsustainable.
Far beyond anything seen in the 1920s. We're not just talking about one country's problem anymore. We're talking about a global house of cards where if one major economy wobbles, the entire structure could come crashing down.
And that's America, man. America, you saw it in 2008 when the housing bubble crisis, it affected the whole world. I mean, we're talking about Greece. Look at Greece. Greece is in shambles due to that, due to America. America coughs, okay? America, the whore, gives the sexual transmitted disease. Everybody gets it, okay? How you like that as a metaphor, all right?
This interconnectedness means a crisis can spread like wildfire, moving from one country to the next in a matter of hours, not weeks or months. The second and perhaps more subtle danger is what I call the everything bubble. In 1929, the primary bubble was in the stock market. Today, it feels like everything is in a bubble. Stocks, real estate, cryptocurrencies, even collectibles like trading cards and NFTs have seen their values skyrocket. This has been fueled by over a decade of near zero interest rates and massive amounts of money being printed and pumped into the system by central banks around the world.
Right, and the central banks are doing it on purpose. Again, they control the boom and bust cycle. They're doing it on purpose, okay? And the banks are controlled by the secret societies, the Illuminati, all right? So that's right. We are in an everything bubble, okay? They're even manipulating gold and silver. And don't get it wrong. You should have gold and silver always. It should be on your persons, not in some vendor, some company. All right, but I was looking at gold and silver's trajectory. It was going way too high, and I was like, "Oh, it's being manipulated." When it goes way too high, it's being manipulated by these demons. Okay, and then now there's a sell-off. All right, and now they're taking that and they're moving it into cryptocurrency. All right, but there's an everything bubble in everything, okay, including gold and silver. All right, and it's done on purpose, okay, so that when it's time to pull the rug, everybody gets affected, okay, if you haven't been paying attention. It's the facts.
Easy money has inflated the price of almost every asset you can think of. So when the correction comes, it won't just be the stock market that gets hit. It will be a simultaneous implosion across multiple asset classes. Imagine your stock portfolio, your home's value, and your crypto investments all taking a massive hit at the same time. This is a scenario that wasn't possible in 1929, and it makes the potential fallout much more severe for the average person.
Now, let me chime in. Cryptocurrency will be used, all right, for this new financial system, but they have to get rid of the ones that they don't need anymore, all right? And that's why the crypto crash is coming soon, okay? Because they got to get rid of the ones that they haven't selected, all right? There's too many. If you go into another history, it's called wildcat banking. I went into this several times, but let me bring this history up. What is wildcat banking? Wildcat banking refers to issuance of paper currency by poorly capitalized and unregulated state charter banks in the United States from 1836 to 1865. Right. This is the same thing that's happening now with the cryptocurrency. You got all these different groups creating different memes and different cryptocurrencies. I mean, you got stupid memes. What's it? That's CIA psyop operative Andrew Tate talking about daddy. What's another one? Shoot, they even have one of Captain Kirk. All right, there's a meme of him. Okay, so as a Terminator. I mean, it's crazy. All right, but this is nothing new under the sun. That's why nothing's new under the sun, as King Solomon wrote, because this happened before. All right, during the 1836 to 1865, they called it wildcat banking. All right, where you had different unregulated banks, poorly capitalized banks, just creating paper currency and saying, "Hey, all right, this has value." Okay, which created a conundrum, which created chaos. These banks were often located in remote wildcat areas to make it difficult for note holders to redeem their currency for gold or silver, right? And again, gold and silver, all right, these precious metals you want to have on your persons, okay? All right? You go to a vendor that personally sells gold and silver. Gold is a little too high, so get silver, but you don't want to invest in gold and silver on an application, okay? You want to have it physical, okay? All right? Just throwing it out there, which allowed the banks to hold less specie and generate higher profits. The currency was often unreliable, backed by questionable assets, and became worthless when the banks failed. Hey, aren't we hearing that? We're also hearing commercial banks failing. We're also hearing these credit banks. They're going to hit a wall because of this whole stable coins being pushed into the financial system. All right. So yeah, the cryptocurrency market as a whole, just to add to it, the bulk of the cryptocurrencies will be wiped out. All right, and that was designed. All right, but they have already selected particular cryptocurrencies for this upgraded financial system, this digital financial system, which is several cryptocurrencies like XRP, XLM, Ethereum, HBAR, okay, Cardano. They've been selected to facilitate this updated new economy that's all digital. Whatever, it will be all trackable, you know. So, in fact, I just saw a report recently where the company Ripple Labs, check this out, all right, Ripple Labs, G Treasury, Palantir. Here it is. So Ripple Labs, a fintech company, which Ripple Labs is the creator of the cryptocurrency XRP, which I recommend, brothers and sisters. All right, if you are looking to learn about cryptocurrency, learn about this cryptocurrency. Not financial advice, but I recommend to purchase XRP because they have chosen this one, all right, for this new financial system. But at the end of the day, um, we know that Yahweh Shemal Shai is going to deliver us, you know. But I'm just saying, if you want to learn about it and you want to get into it, if you're into investing, this is a good, in terms of cryptocurrency, this is a good company to learn about, study, and invest in their token. But check this out. So Ripple Labs fintech company specialized in blockchain digital asset solution acquired G Treasury for $1 billion in October 25. Now, G Treasury role as a treasury management software provider, that's the key. G Treasury helps corporate chief financial officers and treasurer manage cash flows, payment, right? So they strictly work with corporate, all right, and they are a software provider. Now, check out the link with Planeteer. They just, oh, they must have, okay, hold on. G Treasury, Planeteer client. I'm gonna have to write it this way. They just changed it up because this was a major. Holy shit, they removed it. Because yesterday I was able to see it. They removed it. Well, um, yeah, they removed it because this went viral. They must have removed it. They must have pulled it off the internet. Okay, I see you devils. All right, you devils pulled it. You must have pulled it because yesterday I saw that G Treasury had Planeteer as a client. Is Let me go to AI mode. Mm. All right, they must have they pulled it. Okay, these devils are working fast because that was something they did not want everybody to find out that um, G Treasury, which Ripple Labs acquired, has Planeteer as one of their clients. It's all right. It's okay. All right, you devils can pull all you want. I saw it myself, and the Lord is my witness. I saw it myself. So anyway, back to this. I'm gonna close out
Now,
after
let's
this.
talk about the third critical factor, the speed of information and panic. In 1929, news traveled slowly. It moved at the speed of telegraphs and newspapers. People would line up outside banks because they heard a rumor, but it was a localized physical panic. Today, we live in an age of instant information and digital finance. A market crash can be triggered by a single tweet or a piece of algorithmic trading gone wrong. Billions of dollars can be wiped out in seconds.
Or a cyber attack, okay, or um, a terrorist attack. That's all it takes, okay. So that's it. You can watch more of it. All right, let me close out with this one. Psalm chapter 62, verse 10. Trust not in oppression and become not vain in robbery. If riches increase, set not your heart upon them. Right. NLT version. Don't make your living by extortion or put your hope in stealing. Right. That's what these elites have done. That's what these businessmen have done. These bankers have done. Okay. That's what they did. Okay. How was America founded? Okay. How was America built? Okay. How are these devils able to still rob from the people by this whole fraudulent financial system? Okay. Inflation is stealing. They could say all these $100 words, inflation, and it's the devalue of the dollar. That's great, but it's still stealing. Stealing. You're stealing from the poor, because the poor have to, okay, take more money out of their own pocket for the same services that they have to depend on, like light, like rent, like insurance. Especially if you live in a suburb or rural area, you need car insurance to drive to work, right? Insurance is going up. Okay, you're seeing car notes going up. Okay, all right. So that's why this place is going to be judged. If your wealth increases, don't make it the center of your life. Exactly. Okay, who should be the center of your life? Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right. So yeah, I mean, I hit the point. So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Hey, 1929 style crash is imminent. It's coming. We'll see what the scenario is brought out to the forefront of why the crash happened. Okay, we have a government shutdown. Okay, a lot of people being furloughed. A lot of people about to lose their SNAP. Okay, you have reports coming in that already several states are in a recession. So we're coming to the time of an economic crash that no one has ever seen. 1144. Kal halayim Yahweh Bashem Yahshai Bashem Ukakadash Baraka Da. Okay? So yeah. So we're almost out of here. With that, I want to give all praise and all glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bashem Ukakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who ruled well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And salutation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai's sake. Love you, brothers. Keep the door, keep the faith, keep pushing, keep fighting, keep studying. Pray without ceasing. Pray for each other. Pray for the apostle elders. We're almost out of here. To the few sisters that are watching, keep studying. When you pray, pray, cover. Shalom.